मरम ते मुए चार पुरख दोए नाल एक मरम ते दोए मुए दोए मरम ते देख देख जग ढूंढया कहूँ न पाया ठार जिन हर का नाम न चेते हो कहाँ भुलाने संगत करिए साध के अंत करे निर्वाह साकत संग ना कीजिए जाते हुए मिला एक मरम दे दोए हुए दोए मरम जग में चेते हो जान के जग में रहो समाए जग में चेते हो जान के जग में रहो समाए जिन हर का नाम न चेते हो जिन हर का नाम न चेते हो बादे जन्म में जाए एक मरम ते दोए हुए दोए मरम ते आशा करिए राम की अब आस निराश आशा करिए राम की अब आस निराश नरक परे ते नरक परे ते मानई जो हर नाम उदास एक मरम ते दोए मुए दोए मरम ते जाए सिख साखा बहुते किए कैसो क्यों नवीद चाले बेहर मिलन को चाले बेहर मिलन को पीछे अटके कारण बपरा क्या करे जो राम न करे सहाय जे डाले पग धरो सोए मुरमुर जाए एक मरम दे दोए अवरे को उपदेश दे मुख में पर है रेद अब रे काय उपदेश दे मुख में बरहरेत रास बिरानी राखते आया घर का खेत रास बिरानी राखते आया घर का खेत साधु की संगत रहो जो की भूसी खाओ होन हार सोए है साकत संग न जाओ संगत साध की कबीर संगत साध की दिन दिन दूना हेत साकत कारी कांबरी होए होए ना सेत एक गरंते दोए मुए दोए मरंते चार मरंते छह मुए चार पुरख दोए नार दोए मरंते जार दोए मरंते जार। Today's topic is quite interesting as well as mysterious, because when you look at the first couplet, you will find, when you literally translate, it says Kabir ek marante doe muए doe marante char char marante chhe muए char purakh doe nar. It looks like as if he's just talking of some mathematics, 1 and then 2 and then 4 and then 6. And unless until we can go deeper into this, we will miss the message, which is extremely profound as to what message he's trying to give. In the last sitting, we had some discussions regarding what's visible, and we were talking about those entities, those souls who throw themselves into the service of the mankind, and how should the world look at them. And in spirituality, we talk about 3 different layers, 3 levels, 3 characteristics, Tragun. In all of the spiritual literature, that's how it is referred, Tragun. 3 characteristics. And they are called Tamogun, Rajogun and Satogun. And usually the easiest way to understand is, and I have shared that example earlier, that a man is ready to come home after the day's work. On his way back, he stops at a fruit shop and buys some fruit. And while he is coming, he feels hungry and he starts eating. So by the time he gets home, he has eaten the entire fruit. And nothing's left for anybody else. They say, well, oh, that's okay. No problem. But I'm not hungry anymore. When the focus is on the self, for everything, that's tamogun. Very easy to identify. Majority of us fall into that trap. Then the next layer. If the human evolved from that level, now look at the same man, he bought the fruit, he's coming home, and he feels hunger, he feels the urge to eat, but he thinks, wait a minute, my family is waiting, my children are waiting, my wife is waiting, some relatives are home, I would share with everybody. So he urges his own hunger down, he suppresses it, he controls it, does not act on it, he comes home and then sits down with the family and shares the whole thing. So when the focus is on the nearness of the sphere and the focus is lifted from the self, that is what we call the Rajogun. And the name comes from the Raja, the king of the country would worry about the own kingdom. He will try to win the others to enlarge his kingdom, but if the other kingdom is suffering or hungry, he has very little thing to do with it. He will protect his own. And that's Rajogun. It's a higher state than the Tamogun. And then the next layer is that this same example, he's coming home, he has the bucket of fruit, he's walking and suddenly finds some people on the roadside and he finds them that they are hungry. So now he doesn't think of himself, he doesn't think of his own family, but he gives the entire fruit to the third party and saying, well, that's okay, we usually have this luxury, today if it's not there, that's okay. So now his awareness has expanded to the next layer. When the others come into the sphere of thinking, that is Satogun. Now, the Satogun characteristic from the surface will be admired by the world very much. Because from the visible sense, it looks extremely religious and spiritual. Now it is possible that it stays that way. Mostly there is a danger behind it, that the ego of the soul, which is involved in the Satogun, it becomes very subtle, becomes very fine, it comes on the back door. I am that great, I can sacrifice that much. Others are also beginning to say, you are great. Everybody is appreciating, everybody is rewarding, everybody wants your company, and suddenly you start enjoying that accolade and your journey, spiritual evolution starts. So in the spiritual literature, we are warned again and again and say, watch out, all three of these characteristics are actually for this dimension, not for the other. Tamogun is very easy to say, well, that's for this one. And Rajogun is very easy to say, why the Satogun also? And the reason is that Satogun is also focusing on the outer dimension. It's not focusing on the inner dimension at all. So it becomes difficult to understand that, it becomes difficult to get from its trap. We want to fall into that trap very quickly. And in the last week we were using some examples of very well known people who have done this, and it was difficult to perceive how can they not be spiritual? How can they not be called saints? I'm not saying that they are not saints. I don't know what their inner being is. So I can't categorically or authoritatively say such and such is not a saint or not spiritually evolved. What I'm sharing with you is what the literature, whatever Granths, whatever Vedas have warned us about, that the Satogun creates that very fine ego which is hidden behind that very accolade, very many accolades that you get. So be careful about that. Now, who recognizes these accolades? It is the same consciousness which recognizes the criticism. And that's where Kabirji is today's shloka. When I was reading this and I was meditating on it, doing this study, I tried to read the translation, and most of the people said, well, it's very difficult, he has not clarified. And the shloka basically is only numbered. Ek marante doe muye, doe marante char, char marante chhe muye, char purakh doe nar. That's the shloka. And it's very difficult to understand. if you go back as a series and look at the shlokas which are starting from 82nd, 83rd, you will see that he is setting the foundation for it. So when I started going back into, starting with the 82, he says, Kabir jaat jalaha kya kare, hirde base gopal, Kabir ramaiya kant mile, chuke sarv janjal. This is the foundation he is putting now. Kabir ramaiya kant mile. When is that possible? When that drop has become the part of the ocean. When that is possible? When that I, the identity which sees the plus and the minus, has dissolved. That mind, that ego, which recognizes this side or that side, which recognizes I am a drop, which recognizes you are an ocean, till that recognition is there, that means that identity of the I is still there. But when that drop eventually dissolves into the ocean, now the drop cannot say, I am that drop. There is a beautiful parable from Mahabharata, and that was, it has been associated with a lot of other saints, but whosoever said that, the story basically communicates a beautiful message. And then the story goes that a young child, the only child of a widowed mother, dies. And she is now finding herself completely without any support. The husband is not there, there was only one child, and he dies, and she finds herself completely helpless, and somebody tells her to take that child to so and so saint and say, make him alive because that's my only life support. So when that body is lying there and the mother is saying, bring that light back to this body, you can do it, you are all that powerful. And he says, yes, I can do it. But I need you to do something first. We will help you. Great people never ever tell somebody that you are wrong. Look at your stupidity, look at what you're asking for. Their way of communicating is always very subtle and indirect. So this saint says to the mother, would you please go to that river and bring a glass of water from there? And the mother thinks that he will do some magic on the water and sprinkle it, and my child will wake up, and that's what she's thinking. So she's running fast, goes to the river, fills up the glass of water, comes back and says, now do your magic. He says, I have one more work to ask you, one more chore. He says, what is that? He says, go back and throw this water back into the river now. Okay, so she's still trapped in that. And she says, okay, I'll do that. So she goes back, brings the empty glass back, and he says, now, one last thing left. Your child will come alive, provided you can go back to that river and bring exactly the same glass of water back. You get that glass of water, with the sprinkle of that, this child will get out. And she says, wait a minute. The river has flown over. There is no way to bring the same glass of water. And the saint says, what do you think has happened to the consciousness that was in here? It has flown over, it has become the part of the cosmos now. How do I pick up the same? What you are asking is similar to me asking you, go bring the same glass of water back. Once it merges, there is no way to get it back. So if you read Kabir's shloka from 81, he starts, and in the 82 he says, Kabir, aisa ko nahi mandir de jalaye. Nobody gets that courage to dissolve that one. In 84 he says, Kabir aisa ko nahi ye tan deve phunk. Look at how he is building that. In 85 he says, Kabir sati pukare chehi chadi, the one who is willing to sacrifice the self. Kabir man pankhi bhayo. So who has gone here? Ek marante. Therein lies the secret. When you read them as a sequence, therein lies the secret. Ek kaun hai? Which is that one? That man, that pankhi, that mind which has the capability of seeing plus and minus both. Because it never happens that your capability of discerning the negative goes away and you can keep the capability of discerning the positive. It cannot happen. It will always go together. You will have to get rid of the attachment of the positive as well as the negative simultaneously. It is not that slowly one happens. This is a parable that needs to be understood very clearly. It's like that metaphor where I share with you that the darkness went to God and complained. He said, what's your problem? He says, would you take care of this light? I have done nothing to it. But wherever I go, it comes and destroys me. What's my fault? Why this light has become my enemy? I say, okay, we'll talk to it. Bring the light. So light comes. They say, why are you bothering the darkness? And light says, before you can accuse somebody, shouldn't the accuser be present here in the court? Who is accusing me? I have never seen the person. Would you please present, call the darkness, let me see her so that I can see who I'm not bothering anybody, I don't even know. What does it mean? The darkness does not go away slowly and the light comes in. The presence of light becomes the absence of darkness. Absence of light is the darkness. Actually, the reality is that we do nothing absolutely for the darkness. For light, we have to do something. For light, we have to strike a match. We have to have a source. What is not there, the darkness is always there. You do nothing, absolutely no effort is required for the darkness. Same is true for the human mind. There is nothing to be done for ignorance. Don't do anything. Ignorance is there by its nature. For awareness, for knowledge, for knowing, you have to make an effort. And when that effort is made, that's what Kabir is saying, Kabir, aisa ko nahi mandar de jaraye. So now he is talking about in the shloka that we are starting today, he says, Kabir, ek marante. When that one died, which one was that? That mind. When that mind died, that one, then what happened? That doye muhe. Two. What's two? The plus and the minus. Sukh and the dukh. Right and the wrong. Light and the darkness. They all went. Why? Because the one that was discerning, the mind that was saying, this is good, this is bad, this is right, this is wrong, this is sukha, this is dukkha, this is pleasurable, this is painful. When the mind died, both had to die. And if both are not dead, that in itself is a sign that that one has not died yet. You don't need to go ask a master, is my mind under control? Is my thought under control? Am I in a meditative state? If you are asking the questions, you are not. Because the questioner must disappear. When the questioner disappears, you're there. And that's the state Kabir is saying. So, ek marante. Then what happens? Say, doye muhe. Now the thing is going to become very interesting. He said, doye marante char. Now the riddle becomes a little bit more refined now. In all the literature I studied, They wanted to say कि काम क्रोध लोभ मोह अहंकार की गल कर रहे हैं, और तो पंज ने, they are five, right? काम, क्रोध, लोभ, मोह, अहंकार, they are five. He stopped at four. He said द्वये मरन्ते चार. Now let's look at these five. Kam does not necessarily mean sex. Kam means kamana, vasana, the desires, desire of anything. That's kamana. And then the ego. Now, what happens when your desire is fulfilled from a source? Lobha. If the lobha, the desire, the greed is fulfilled, what happens inside us? We feel happy. We feel love toward the person, moho. We feel attraction to the person from where our lobha is satisfied or our ego is satisfied. Isn't it? So what is moho? Moho is a byproduct. It's not a malady of the human mind by itself. Kamana, the desire, is a human malady. Ego is a human malady. And lobha, the greed, is a human malady. Three of them. The other two, the anger and the moh, the attraction, the attachment, is a byproduct of, if any one of these three is fulfilled, we feel happy. We feel attracted, there is a moh. If any one of them is hurt, the anger comes. Anger and moh, the attraction, the attachment, anger and attachment is a byproduct of either getting this fulfilled or not fulfilled. They are not entities independent by themselves. Now you will be able to see Kabir's mathematics. See what he's saying. He says, Ek marante doye mue. When the two are gone, or two nahi hai, kehte char ho gaye. What? The other three got added. Which one? Because that I, which was discerning positive and negative, also now I is not there, hence ego is not there. If the I is not there, then the desire, who is going to desire? Where is the desire, the voice, when the ego is there? That goes away. And if the desires are there, whether it is less or more, the lobha, the greed, that goes away. So now the mind and these three, they become four. But that's not what it only happened. Doye marante char, char marante chhe mue. This is not only this happened. Now, because there is no happiness or greed, the other two, they also went away. But इशारा किथे है? सीक्रेट किथे है? चार पुरख दोए नार. This is not a grammar. This is not one is pulling and Citriling the pulling the gal kare. Kabir is not talking grammar here. Because the lobha and the anger are shadow of the greed and the ego, they are like husband and wife. As a wife follows as a shadow, or a husband follows, whichever way you want to call it in the Western world, and I want to be politically correct here. It doesn't bother me one way or the other. He said, Char Purukh doye na. The other two follow. They don't have an independent existence. Affection comes in when somebody says, you are that great. Here is something from me. Here is a gift from me. Somebody gives me a compliment, my ego. Somebody gives me a gift, my greed. Somebody satisfies my anything, I am attracted to that person. In human existence, the relationships can never be of the physical. Who do we become friends with? Who are the people we like? Where the thoughts, mind, vichar. If the vichar, the thoughts, the ideas are not common, how far we can go? Even in friendship. What happens in the relations? One of the biggest tragedy of human existence, at least to me, is that we decided to pick up a man and a woman and we tie them together and say they are husband and wife and they have nothing in common. Their ideas, their thoughts, man says one thing, the woman says totally another thing. If the ideas and the thoughts are not common, they cannot be called husband and wife. We cannot even call each other friends. How can we call husband and wife? And the whole emphasis is, whether my thoughts are common with you or not, I own your body. And the conflict. Relationships cannot be maintained at the physical level. Impossible. Why? Because nature made it so. Every human body is different. Every human body is different. Ever since the day one the creation was, that's why you have thumbprints and footprints and everything. We have our coding. The bodies cannot merge. They cannot be together. They cannot be the same. They cannot be. It is impossible. But at some place, the mind and the thought can be. Then the relationship starts. And when the thought and the mind becomes absolutely universal, then you become a saint. Then you become a Kabir. That's the difference. The love is not of the body. It's the mind. And the relationships are of that. So when that which discerns the relationships are good or bad, when that dies, then where is the question of having an attachment or having an aversion, having a repulsion? All that go away, and that's the Brahma Kabir saying, what? You start with one. Focus on that one. Which one? That mind. You start with that. Once that mind dies, then look at the sequence of events. Looking at from the surface, the statement only says this. When one died, then the two died, then two died, and the four died, then the four died, and the six died. That's all the Slok says. But if you don't get deeper into this, so look what he's saying. Ek marante doye muwe, doye marante char, char marante chhe muwe, char purakh doye nar. And that's where he answered the question. He gave the secret away. Why he's calling the four the male and the other two the female? All he's saying that they are shadow. They are not the real one. Which one? The anger and the moh, the attachment. They are not by themselves the malady of human. They are the byproduct of if the other three are either hurt or rewarded. When they are rewarded, you will find attached. When they are hurt, you will find repelled. And the anger will come. But they all go away if you start with one, that mind. That distinction which says this is good, this is bad, this is right, this is wrong. In the world of spirituality, no matter how good the positive energy is, how highest level that is, how purified that is, remember that. That's a satogun. It is not spiritual. Spirituality says you have to transcend the three, Rajogun, Tamogun and Satogun. You have to go beyond all three of them. Only then you will know what the real spirituality is. Till you are trapped in any one of them or all of them, you will not feel the blissfulness that the spirituality gives you. And that's what Kabir ji is today trying to explain to us. Kabir, देख देख जग ढूंढया कहूं ना पाया ठार जिन हर का नाम ना चेतियो कहा भुलाने और. He says, why did I do this? Why did I focus on that one mind? What was the reason for this? He said the reason was that no matter where I did, what did I do, where did I go, what did I study, kahun na paya thaur. Thaur is the state of existence where there is no movement, there is no disturbance. Thikana, sithirta. Mind cannot stay still. If the mind stops, that means mind dies. Mind means the movement from the past to the future. Either it will think of the disappointments of the past, or the successes of the past, or it will dream about the good days of future, or the worry about the future. It will not stay in the present. It will not stay in the present. If you want to start the simplest meditation in your life today, here is a rule of thumb. Try staying in that moment. It's a tragedy with us that we come from the home, to the home, from our work, we put the dinner up, turn on the TV, take the newspaper and turn on the stove, look at the mail from the post office. We are multitasking, right? And we are very proud of ourselves. We are managing our time very well. We are doing none of that. Try eating someday when you are eating. Just eat. Just try to eat the food. That's it. Don't think of taking. We think we have become totally uncivilized if we don't sit around the table and chatter for the rest of the day. What happened? How was your day? चमचा भी चल रहा है, कहानी भी चल रही है, स्टोव वाल भी देखा जा रहा है, बच्चे को भी डांट लगाई जा रही है, उत्ते टीवी चल रहा है, थले रेडियो चल रहा है. Learn. If you want to meditate, take a look at what you're doing. One action, just that, whichever you want. You are going to go for a walk? Just go for a walk. Just walk. And when the mind wanders around the scenery, or when the thought comes, what will I do after I finish my walk? Stop the mind, bring it back and forget what you will do afterwards. Walk. Right now, just walk. How much I have walked from here, how much is left, how far I am going to go. What is doing? When it sees backward to say how much far I have come, it's staying in the past. Or if it's seeing how far I want to go, it's gone already in the future. Your feet are over here, the mind is over there. There is no need to do any other yoga, any other chanting, any other mantras, nothing. Just do exactly what you are doing at that moment. And you will find mind will revolt. Very lovingly become aware and bring it back and say, this is your very, very old habit. I understand. You went there? No. Walk. Become in the present. Is my right foot up? Is my left foot up? Am I touching the ground? Am I feeling the dust? Stay with the moment of that walk. Stay with the moment of that eating. Am I picking the spoon? Is it sweet? Is it salty? It is. And where is going in the throat? How many times I have chewed it? Do we know? Why? Because the mind is somewhere else. The body is on autopilot. Just like we fly and the plane is put on autopilot and then the captain goes somewhere else and the plane is flying by himself. That's what we do. And we take very much pride in the fact that we can do so many things simultaneously. Meditation is totally counter to that. And that's what Kabir ji is saying here. He says, I have tried देख देख जग ढूंढिया काऊ ना पाया ठाव, टिकाऊ ही नहीं है. Wherever I look, everybody is multitasking. They want to do this, they want to do that. And if you ask them, जिंदगी बड़ी थोड़ी है, very short life. We just want to do so much, see so much. And what happens in the process? We neither see anything, nor enjoy anything. We just keep on daydreaming. And he says, so long as you are in that trap, what happens then? He says, जिन हर का नाम ना चेते हो कहाँ भुलाने आओ. If the mind that cannot stay still on a single thought, how is it going to stay still on God's name? How is it possible? He will sit down to meditate and the mind will go somewhere else. He will sit down for his puja or path or whatever the people do or their rituals. They will light the candles or they'll strike the bells and they do whatever they do, the mind will be somewhere else. What will mind do? Well, how much time I have taken? When should I go there? I better not get late. The traffic is building. The thoughts are, did I finish the breakfast or not? Am I pack my lunch or not? All kinds of thoughts will capture you. And he says, it is impossible. And because I did not find that, what did I do? I said, kill that gun. This mind, I had to kill it. And once I killed, what I found? एक मरनते दोए मुए दोए मरनते चार चार मरनते छह मुए चार पुरख दोए ना. He says, understand that secret. Where do you get that secret from? How do you understand that secret? Next stanza. कबीर संगत करिए साध की अंत करे निर्वाहो साकत संग न कीजिए जाते होए बिना हो. He says, you get that secret from where? The one who has been there. Find that. Seek that. Develop that hunger in you. Develop that urge in you. Develop that thirst that you need that energy. You need to understand that secret. You need that company. Because that is the company which will be what? Antakare nirvaha. Our focus is that nirvaha means guzara karna, to pass the time comfortably. It is for this life. He says, forget about this life. This life is going to go beyond. You are born, He will take care of you. Kabir gives an example. He says, I wonder, the whole of the life man continues struggling to make a living. Here I notice one thing. Look at his logic. He said, I noticed one thing. My child wasn't born and my wife's body was already producing milk. I started wondering, what is this milk? There's nobody to take this milk yet. The body hasn't come out yet and its sustenance is already there. Human weren't born on this earth. Earth already had the capability to grow. It already had these minerals. It already had the land and the fertilization to grow the food for the man. Asan loe loe pandha, jo kichu paya so ekavar. When we were doing the Japji, we discussed that. He says it doesn't matter on one place. He says everywhere where the creation is. Now the humans have a problem. They think that if they are not in like us, there is no other creation. Right? I mean, we go to other planets and we start looking for the water and the carbon and the amino acids. We think that the life form exists only in this form. Spiritual masters don't agree with that. Life is not necessarily water-based, carbon-based, ammonia-based, or physical-based. Life form is of multi. Not only that, the life form in this time and space right now as we are sitting is existing in other forms. Just as we cannot see them and relate with them, they cannot relate with us. There is a boundary. Nature, that's how the nature created it. So he says, we worry about the passing of the life in the physical dimension. He said, don't. We look for the friends who have that kind of a good investment, good this, good that, good job, good money. We always continuously look for that. He says, no, don't do that. That will happen automatically. It will take care of itself. Have faith. If you want to do some seeking, some searching, then search for this. Which one? Sangat kariye sadhaki. Find the company of the one who has seen that secret. And what will happen? Anta kare nirva. That place where you are really needed, that's where he will be, that secret he will give you become handy over there. Antu, at the end, on the other side of it. But what you do, he says, that's not what we are doing. Sakat sangna kijiye jate hoye bina. Sakat means the one who is spiritually dead, who has no spiritual life. He says, if you keep the company of those who are spiritually bankrupt, they will take you along with them. Tate hoye bina. Bina means barbadi, destruction. कबीर जग में चेते हो जान के जग में रहो समाये जिन हर का नाम ना चेते हो बाधे जन्मे आए. He says, once I understood that secret, then I got lost into his name. Chit, Man, that entity which was earlier looking for good and bad is now looking for only him, looking for his name, focus on that. I says, I wonder, the desire, asa. Earlier he talked about that the kam, the vasana, the ashama, they are the byproduct of that mind. He says, do you want to use the mind? Do you really, if you say, well, I can't kill the mind yet. I cannot be without it. I have to have the thoughts. I don't know how to exist in a thoughtless state. He says, well, that's okay. I understand your problem. Let me give you a solution of that. You want to have a desire? Then have one desire. Which? Asa kariye Ram ki. Okay, if you cannot be without desire, start with this step. Eventually you will have to drop that step also, by the way. He'll take you there. Once that one, the last is the desire, there is a beautiful parable from Buddhism. And the parable says, if you meet a Buddha on the road, kill him. Looks very cruel. I mean, what kind of message is this? If you meet a Buddha on the road, kill him. Why? Because you get attached to your guru. And Kabir says it happened to me. He says it happened. When I was on that path, I am at that ultimate state, and I'm sitting and I'm watching the boat. I arrived at that state of being, in that blissful state. So now what should we do? He says, on one hand, I see my guru is standing. I mean, it's a metaphor, but a beautiful metaphor. He says, I'm standing and I'm now existing in a state where I see the guru and I see the God simultaneously. So what should I do? Should I first thank the guru because of him I'm there? Or should I not waste any more time because this is what I was looking for? I should forget and get on with my life. What should I do? He says, now I am caught. He says, but I could not solve that riddle. I had the true master as a guru. So guru ki kehta hai? Beautiful. Gur Govind dove khale kake lagon paya. Gur, the master, Govind, the god. Both of them are right there. Who should I go to first? Kakela Gopal? I have written. I can't solve this problem now because I don't want to be the ungrateful to the master who brought me up to this state. But at the same time, if I miss this opportunity now, I may never get it. So what should I do? He says, Balahari Guryapane Jin Govindiyo Bataye. He says, the Guru, he says, get on. I was just a means, not the end. Don't look back now. So Guru pushed me. I am grateful to him now because he did not pull me back. He said, get on. And that's what Buddha says. He says, you will get attached to your Guru, which is the last stage. Eventually you will have to kill Guru also. And that's what he says. If you meet a Buddha on the road, kill him. And that's what he's saying here. Eventually you will get there. But you start with, if you cannot be without desires, and your mind is not still, and it wants to get something because it's so used to it, only achieving something by getting something, alright, I will grant you one desire, and that is his desire. Keep that desire with you. Kabir, Asha kariye Ram ki avre aas nirash. Now you have to drop everything else then. All the desires have to be done. Only one desire. That is to merge into the ultimate. Nark parete maniye jo har namo das. He says, if you are not doing that, nark parete maniye. Then he says, tell me what worse can be. What else do you call hell? Nark parete maniye. Because narki hai, wo ek hi hai. Nark parete maniye. Inu narki man. Some just call it narki hai. This is hell. If you don't have that desire, then I don't know what else hell is. You are pained, you are suffered, you are going through all the ups and downs of life. What else is the hell? He says, to me, there is no other hell other than to live without that one desire. Nark parete mani jo har naam udas. The one who does not have that desire is away from that, is living the hellish life, nothing more than that. Kabir, Sikh Sakha bahote kiye, Keso kiyo na meet. Keso. Keso means God, Paramatma. Keso. This is Sanskrit, Keshav. It's a Gurmukhi conversion is Keso. Keso, Keso kukiye. नासो ये था रात दिवस के कूप में कभे तो सुने पुकार. Six Sakha Bahude kiye. See, all the life, what have you done? You gathered lots and lots of friends. You just did not think of one friend, that was it. Everybody else was a friend except the one. The one you really should have been the friend is not the friend. But one who is not the friend, they are all friends. There's a beautiful story in the life of Sufi Fakir. And the story, I have related that with some of you may have heard it or not. And the story goes that the Bulle Shah is gone to get the milk in the early morning. And he's standing in the queue. And while he was in the queue, somebody came after him and going to stand behind him. And the milkman called that guy and said, you come ahead of everybody. And the Buddhist also noticed that he was actually measuring the milk and taking the proper money from everybody. When this guy, he said, show me your bucket, and he put the entire milk in his bucket, did not even measure it. And then he wanted to give some money. He said, no, it's all right, just go. So now Buddha Shah is watching all of that. So he's very curious. When his turn comes, He says, I want to ask you a question. Everybody was in the queue and they were all waiting for their turn. Everybody you were measuring the milk. Everybody you were charging the money. This person was out of queue. You did not measure the milk and did not even take the money. Why? One says, he's my friend. So what? So nobody keeps the track of money amongst friends. Who counts these things amongst friends? If you are counting, then you are not a friend. And it says, the Bulleh Shah immediately dropped his bucket and says, no more. I have been counting. Because in Islam, you do 5 namaz every day. So he says, I used to count. Have I done 5 or not? How can I be friend? I am counting that I have done 5 prayers for you today. Today I have done 10. Let's say. So I have not considered him my friend because I keep on counting. From this day onward, no counting. If I am going to be his friend and he is going to be my friend, then there should be no mathematics. कोई हिसाब किताब नहीं होना चाहिए. And that's what we do. Right? इतनी बार मंदिर गए, इतना दान किया, इतने पूजा की, इतने हवन करवाए, इतना ये. We do that all the time. We count. How many times I've gone to the churches, how many rosaries I have done, how many this things I've done, how much money I've. This is how can there be a counting between friends? Counting is between businessmen, partners, not friends. So Kabir says, you have friends, those which count. But the one who should not have, you never counted him, never brought as a part of your friend. Sikh Sakha Bahute Kiyo, Keso Kiyo Nami, you have not made him as your friend. Chale the har milan ko, biche atke chi. So look what happens. Because you have not understood the basic rules of friendship. Because friendship has no mathematics. It has no checking balance, no credits and no debits. It's always unlimited. It's always without count. Because you fell into the habit of counting, then what happened? So you should stop right in the middle. You didn't go anywhere. Chale the har milan ko, biche atke chi. You are right in the middle. You didn't go anywhere. Why? Because you are counting. And his relationship is without the counts. No debits, no credits, no ledger. Unlimited. He does not count how much he has given you. Does he? Does he remind anybody? I have given you millions, or I have given you hundreds, or I have given you this and that. Does it ever anybody gets any reminder anybody? But we do. And he says, so long as you are in that, you are not on that path. Biche atkeochi. Right in the middle. कबीर कारण बकरा क्या करे जब राम न करे सहाय जय जय डाली पग धरो सोई मुरे मुरे जाए. Wow. Now he is taking now care of. So far he was addressing as if we need to be paying attention to, right? But if I am going now, my eye is going to start raising his head. I am on the path. I am doing this. He takes that away, yanks it away right away. He says, you are not doing anything. It's not going to happen. Kabir, karan bapara kya kare? Bapara means bechara, helpless. What can happen if Ram na kare sai? If he does not help you, he does not have his grace, you're not going to be able to do anything. On the contrary, you will find Jai Jai Dali Pag Taro Soi Mure Murjai. You will not be able to go up. Now look at the symbol here. Dali Pag Dharo, because he's talking of the spiritual evolution, growth, going upward, going against. Running down is very easy. I think I was talking probably to somebody. You were saying that, why skiing is so good? Why do we feel so good? Running downhill. Isn't it? How many people you find doing the mountaineering? Mountaineering is not very popular. But skiing is very. Why is that? Because it's going downward is always easy. Why the attraction towards the drugs and the alcohol and the chemicals? Why? Because pull the conscious downward to the Stone Age. You become still. Why staying awake is so painful? Try sitting in the home without sleeping. By yourself. Just do nothing else. Forget about anything. No other yoga to be done, no other meditation to be done, no exercise to be done. Just sit. Just try. For 1 hour. You will not be able to do it for 5 minutes. I am surprised that we call this as a house arrest. अपने घर में कैदी कैसे बन गया भैया? No, I have decorated this home with all the things that I like, right? Now, if I am forbidden to step out of the home, so then I should be happy. This is my home, right? All the things are mine. I selected them. I should be able to enjoy them, right? Can we do that? If they say, "Thou shall not get out of the home, stay inside," we go mad. And we want to go find a friend. Let me ask you a question. If I cannot be friend with myself, why should anybody be friend with me? Right? Why can't I enjoy my company? I want somebody else to enjoy my company. Isn't it? I was saying, Divanji, you come and sit down with me. And Divanji says, wait a minute, can you sit down with yourself? Just sit down with yourself first. And learn to enjoy your own company before you ask me to enjoy your company. Can we do that? The running out is actually hiding away from facing the self. When we go look for other friends, when we run out, it's hiding away, ignoring. If not, okay, well, try one thing more. Just sit amongst yourself, but don't say anything. Just sit quietly. Just, we are in a company. Now try that experiment. Just sit, but don't say anything. Now what? खामोशी. अरे क्यों हो गए? चुप चुप तो बैठे हो. कुछ कहो जी. What's happening here? Look at the working of the mind. Mind wants change. Mind wants chatter. It's a monkey who wants to chatter all the time. If it doesn't find the source outside, it will find the source inside and it will start chattering. You try to shut it up, it will go berserk. And Kabir says, it is going upward. That's why it is difficult. And you need somebody's help. And that help seek from him, not from outside. कबीर कारण बपरा क्या करे जो राम ना करे सहाय जय जय डाली पग धरो means as you try to go up, you try to take the sword, soi mure murjai, that particular branch will bend. Why is choosing the branch? It's a parable. It's a metaphor. Is saying because spiritual journey is going higher. And I think I shared with you once. That's what the Christian cross meant exactly that. When Jesus did this and stood in there, it's a mystical symbol. It has nothing to do with the dying on the cross. This is a horizontal, living at the same plane. The people can live in the negative or in the positive, but they live on the same plane. This is the vertical evolution. This is the journey of the soul. Vertical journey, journey of the soul. Horizontal journey, journey of the life in the outside world. The Christian cross symbolized that there are two types of existence, horizontal and vertical. But if you want to go on vertical, this one will have to die, hence reborn, the concept of rebirth, born again. In Hinduism, it's called Davij. Reborn means what? Because this one, the horizontal one, will have to die. Because the journey is upward. You can exist here, either on the positive side or on the negative side, that's okay. If you want, live on the same plane, and that's alright. But if you say, no, I want to go to the house of the Father, then the journey has to be vertical. In order for the vertical journey, this one must die. A new one must be born. And that's why we say, on the Christ, Jesus of Nazareth died, and the Christ was born. That's what parable that means. That's what symbol that means. And that's what Kabir is saying here also. He's saying, Dali Pagdharo, you are going to go up, but you need somebody else's help. You need somebody else's support. Kabir, now, he's going to start slapping the people like me. You say, Avaran ko upadesh de mukh mein par hai re. That's what's happening. Those like me who have not experienced themselves but start telling the others that you should do that, he says means what? Mukh mein par hai re. It's like putting the sand on the ground. These are not words because they are not mine. They are not coming out of experience. Auran ko upadesh de mukh mein par hai re. Ras birani rakhte khaya ghar ka khet. Taking care of the others and forgot about themselves. And that's the answer to your question. The entity which starts worrying about the others before doing ourselves, that's what happens to them. It's a normal thing. अभी सारे संत बन जाएंगे तो दुनिया का क्या बनेगा? Isn't that a common thing? भाई ये मत करो. अभी सारे, if everybody is like that, what has happened to the world? Well, what is, you are a contractor for the rest of the world? You suddenly have replaced God and God died and said you become the God? What are you worried about everybody else? नहीं, किसी में तो गृहस्थी होना चाहिए ना, किसी में तो करना चाहिए. सारे साधु बन जाएंगे तो फिर की बनेगा दुनिया का? No. As if Kabir became sadhu and the world completely ended. As if Gautama left the world of Rajniti and politics, and that the politics has been eliminated from the earth. It is the excuse of the mind to not to change. Forget about the others. Don't dwell, don't think, don't worry about the others. बाकियां ना भी कुछ पढ़ा हो जाए. आप पढ़ा हो गया? Are you there yet yourself? Why are you worried about the others? And he is talking about those. He says, Kabir, Auran ko upadesh de, those who started this without realizing themselves, they are worrying about the others without first worrying about themselves, they waste their life. Ras birani rakhte, khaya ghar ka khet, Kabir sadhu ki sangat raho, jau ki bhusi khao, hon haso hoye hai, sakat sang na jao. So he is trying to help us stay in the company of those who have gone there before you and be humble. Jao ki bhusi khao. He doesn't mean that if the nature has given you that you should not take it. All he's saying is don't be greedy, don't run after more. Just what the way Farid said, Rukhi sukhi khai ke thanda pani piyo, dekh parai chopari na tarsayi jiyo. That's what Farid said, that's how Kabir is saying. Say, jao ki bhusi khao, hon haso hoye hai, sakat sang na jao. He said, whatever is happening. Don't lose your faith. Don't lose. Understand the belief and the faith is not one and the same. A faith would not be shaken. A belief can be shaken with the smallest of the effort. Belief comes in from something that I have heard, something that I have read. That's my belief. This is what I believe. And then we find the data for the opposite. I don't believe that anymore because I've seen it. Belief that becomes faith then the faith would not be shaken. Then सुकरात को जहर भी दे दिया होगा तो ठीक है, that's fine. Faith is not shaken. Socrates was given the poison to drink. Why? It's a beautiful story. I was surprised with. The person who he was judged that he's being blasphemic, he's saying all these things which were in that Greek mythology at that time was not, and he was a mystic. He was not a polytheistic of the time, he was a monotheistic, and the beliefs were polytheistic, so he was trying to preach the monotheistic thought. Hence he was condemned to die by drinking the poison. And the person who is giving the poison, in the presence of everybody, he basically says, look, I have the power to let you go. But I ask you only one thing. Leave Athens right now. And your life will be spared. He said, that I cannot do. And what is the difficulty in going somewhere else? So wait a minute. The world is full of exactly people like you. It doesn't matter where I go. Whatever I say here, I'm going to say there also. They'll pick up and do the same thing. He hammered them very, very beautifully. He says, if I go to that village and say the same thing, because I can't stop. What I have seen, I have seen. I'm only going to share it with you what I have seen. So whether I go there, whether I stay here, doesn't matter. The people are the same. I'll be condemned there just as I'm condemned here. So let's get it over with. See, he doesn't leave the village. He drinks the poison. Kabir says, don't lose the faith. Sakat sang na jao. Whatever is happening because of that is the will. That's the only thing that can happen. In the last statement for the evening, Kabir sangat saad ki din din duna het sakat kari kambali dhoye hoye na se. He says, why I am asking you to do this? He gives the reason behind it. And the reason he gives, that if you are in the company of those, Saad ki sangat. Saad doesn't mean the one who dresses like one. Saad here means the one who has achieved. He says, if you stay in that, then your own path will keep on expanding and you will keep on growing in that direction. Din din duna hai. So your attraction and love with God will keep on increasing, keep on multiplying. If not, sakat kari kambari. Kari, kali, black. Kambari, kambali, kapda. Dhote hoye na se. He says the one who is away from the God is like a black blanket. No matter how much you wash the blanket which is black, it's not going to become white. Dhoye hoye na se, it means white. Because its characteristic is such. The one who's away, he's going to try to convince you that he's not there. Right? I mean, only recently, because of the other political problems, this discussion is not anymore. This has been a very, very popular discussion, particularly in the educational circle. Is it creation or is it evolution? Should we teach the children the theory of creation, which is more of the religious connotation, or the theory of evolution, which is more of a scientific Darwinian concept versus Bible concept? And this controversy still remains. What should we teach in that? So the one who's going to be evolutionist, he's going to argue with you, there is no such creator. So he says, stay away from it. There's no reason, there's no cause to fight that battle. You just walk away from it. Hold on to your faith. Hold on to your own beliefs and convert them into faith so they become unshaken, so that you stay on that path and keep on evolving step by step by step by step. May we be granted that wisdom and strength so that we can continue on that evolutionary scale. With that, I thank you all for coming and giving me the opportunity to share some thoughts with you. and I seek your forgiveness for any shortcomings in this. Thank you very much. See you next week. Best performance. And he related a beautiful story. He said there was, in a congregation, in a hall, it was packed full, and he was playing. He finished it, packed his bag, left the stage, and the people did not know, they did not remember to clap. They did not know. Not a single person knew that he had left the stage. He said, I have never received a higher compliment. For an artist, somebody not to say wow, 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 and then we should be. Normally was in the standing ovation and this many claps. He says, I was gone from the stage. And not a single person knew that I had left. He said, that's the highest compliment that I have ever received. When the time disappears, that is the only time you really have been, you can actually now build on this. Imagine what happens when everything else disappears also. What blissfulness. That you can stay in a single place. Normally when you are sitting, how much fidgety we are, isn't it? Now what happens if you sit here for 2 hours? Same body. You are not aware of the clock, you are not aware of your body muscles and all. And if that instead of 9:30 it becomes 12 o'clock, that is something that you can build on. That state is possible. It's not just theory, it's not just illusions, it's not just gupshup. It is possible to put the mind and body in that state where it can become so blissful that it forgets everything. It's unaware of the surroundings, of the time, of the heat, of the cold, of the hunger. They get suspended. All you need to do is experience it once with full awareness. Experience it once with full awareness, not contrived, not manipulated, not acted upon. Experience it with full awareness. It will become a part of your memory. It will become a part of your consciousness.